Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first mainstream match of UmaLeague. I'm here with Terumi, the creator of the 5v5 Drafter. How are you feeling about this?
Yeah, I see we're here for an exciting match. Both these teams are actually veterans in the 5v5 solo queue community that we've built up over the past month, so I'm very excited for this match. And we see here that actually the first tiebreaker is going to be a pretty soulful Tokyo Derby, actually. Pretty rare considering that we could possibly roll any map in the pool, but here we have the Tokyo Derby rolling for the tiebreaker map for both of these teams.
Yep. And taking a look at the popular picks, right? Especially with Tokyo 2400 being a relatively generic map compared to some of the crazier sprint maps we could have seen, like the one and only straight line map. Let's talk about the big four. The big four with the highest presence by far in all of Umamusume. It's Summer Marzensky, it's Valentine Bourbon, it's Ogre Cap, and then it's Ogre Cap in a Christmas outfit.
Yeah, the four horsewomen of the apocalypse of UmaDraft, they are consistently the highest presence Umas. I think all four of them had 100% presence at one point in time. Right now they're a little bit down because a couple we've had like one-off drafts of them not appearing, but still hovering around 99%. That just shows how monstrous their presence is in this game, and for good reason. Valentine Bourbon and Summer Marzensky, both the strongest frontrunners in the game right now, I'd say. And frontrunners are really strong in this game mode because you can always rely on them to do their job, right? Many maps. Angling scheming is gonna work, right? All it requires you is be in first place and be on a corner. That's basically over half of the maps that can be drafted in this game, and it really helps their presence, given the fact that they are the ones who tend to be in first place. As far as Christmas Ogre, I mean, we've all seen it, right? The power that Christmas Ogre, especially when given the opportunity to run on a map between 2,000 and 2,200 meters, she just has uncontested, unconditional acceleration, and it's really oppressive to deal with. And finally, but definitely not least, the goat Ogre herself. This one, I think, just and not necessarily just because of how strong she is as a baseline kit, but also of how friendly it is to run her in Mant, right? She can run sprint if you get her aptitudes up. She comes out of the box able to run mile, medium, or long, so she's incredibly versatile, and she can run turf and dirt. You can just plug her in anywhere. She can run pace, she can run late, and she'll do her job. So she's a very consistent pick, which garners her that spot as the four horsewoman. So yeah, I'm interested to see what we'll see here today as far as what maps will be picked. The standard, I'd say, for what we can expect is usually teams will kind of play around the tiebreaker, but the average draft, I'd say, is around a corner three map is where most people tend to prefer, just because it provides a basically fair field, right? If a team feels confident, they'll just pick a corner three map and they'll just fight on their front runners and the strength of their backliners, because both of them, both horses in those roles will be able to either excel with angling and scheming or with the major Dober unique.
Yeah, and these teams are still in the prep phase, it looks like. Which Umas do you expect to be a big threat other than the big four, right? Of course, if you sort by the very flawed metric of points per game. There are some specialists that start rising to the top. I think one of the scariest Umas that is not of the four is Smart Falcon.
Yeah, so once we kind of get out of the big four, these horses, they don't usually last within the draft. Most of the time, they'll either get banned or pre-banned. But once we get past that, I'd say the strongest picks are going to be Saiyan Sky and Smart Falcon, as you mentioned, because Smart Falcon, she's basically just Summer Marzensky and Muhammad Bourbon Valentine's. They're able to secure lead and get that acceleration. And other than that, Saiyan Sky herself, once we take out kind of the strongest frontrunners, though, Saiyan Sky has that uncontested rod that can win off of any map as long as she gets first place. So she's really strong. So, but anyway, getting into the draft here now, we are seeing that the first pick from Team Velocity is going to be Tokyo 2300. So, like I said, usually teams will try to, play around that tiebreaker map because, if you pick 3 maps and do well on those and you win the tiebreaker, then, you'll win the match, right? Usually anyway, because we have a point system. But playing around the tiebreaker is to the team's advantage. So Tokyo 2300 here is basically just the younger brother of Tokyo 2400, right? Exactly the same, basically. So nothing too surprising here.
Yeah.
And we're going to see... yeah, go ahead.
Do you expect the teams to... Okay, well, with Hanshin 2000, looks like they're playing it safe at the start of the draft. They're trying not to reveal their overall strategy since they're stacking the mediums. They know the tiebreaker's a medium. It makes it very safe to go for, especially because most of the Umas in the game are designed around medium being the most popular course.
Yeah, and I do have to mention, now we are kind of steering towards, as we can see, this is basically also a redshift map on the Hanshin 2000 inner. When it comes to redshift drafts, what we're going to see is a lot more pace activity, right? Pace usually kind of gets shafted in a lot of the drafts because if it's a corner 3 map, they can't really excel. But when we have a corner 4 map like this, anyone has access to that redshift. So pace is going to see a lot more activity. And now we have the next pick, the infamous Arima Kinen. So this is kind of an interesting one, right? This is a map that is basically just a medium map cosplaying as a long map, but it is an Axel map that enclosers really love, with that kind of straight Axel zone into the Dober unique. Enclosers and even definitely enclosers particularly are going to love this map, and more recently frontrunners as well, with the release of Akita-san Black and Saiyan Sky Ballroom are going to be able to get stable acceleration in this map.
Yep. And it's also just a really safe pick. Whenever I see people playing draft, right, that they go for the mediums and they go for Arima Kinen, and no one is surprised. But Kyoto 1800 changes quite a bit of that here. Of course, not completely out of the picture, but Kyoto 1800 is notably not a medium.
Yeah, so as we see these first 4 maps come through, we're seeing a lot of corner 4 maps, right? Which signals to me that the teams are going to be, competing for that red Marzensky pick, right? With her built-in red shift, for 1 to 5 acceleration spot, she's gonna be able to stably excel on basically all 4 of these first 4 maps. And next, we're gonna see that Niigata 2000 come in. Niigata 2000, interesting pick here from Team Velocity. It is going to be an encloser straight XL map. There's a tiny tag on the final corner for angling and scheming users, but for the most part, what this pick signifies to me is that a Team Velocity might be going more end heavy here with both their Arima Kinen pick, able to have enclosers using that straightaway spurt. Marita Taishin, especially, very, very powerful with encroaching shadow. So, along with this pick and that Niigata 2000 pick, I'm interested to see what Team Velocity will pick and if we'll see more enclosers as expected.
Yep. No hover so far from Lovestruck, who we were waiting on for the 3rd pick here. Chukyo 2000. Let's take a look at that real quick.
Yeah, so gonna be a very similar pick to the Hanshin 2000 that they picked earlier. So it's basically just at this end of corner 3, tagging the early of corner 4, just slightly delayed for redshift users, but still very, very fair. Anyone who uses Dober unique, redshift, angling, scheming, everyone's gonna be able to excel here. So what I'm seeing in this draft is we're gonna have an extremely competitive competition for the first 5 spots, and even for the first 7 spots actually. And usually when this happens, this signals to me that both teams are, confident that they're gonna. Oh, and just as I said this, here we come in with the Tokyo 3400 Team Velocity throwing a little wrench in the kind of fair competition that both teams were handshaking there. This is an extremely long map. It's one of the longest maps that we have the possibility of choosing, with another straight XL map with 2 tiny downhills, an extremely long map, especially with the map pool so far was leaning towards more medium mile. This long map could throw a wrench in the Team Lovestruck's plans.
Yeah, having to commit to contesting that map is scary, right? But the fact that they only picked one super long in their 4 maps means that it is kind of the obvious ban for the other team to just slam.
Yeah, this definitely yells ban bait to me, and they really want to just secure these first 3 maps. Definitely, if I were Team Lovestruck, I would not want to deal with this Tokyo 3400, especially when we see that Team Velocity was actually gearing more end closer heavy. And when we talk about end closers, we can't ignore the Uma looming over all Umas, right? Gold Chip herself. She's gonna have that go home specialist. It's gonna be a little bit early, I think, but even then, with that built-in gold plus Wings Maestro, she's more likely to survive on these long maps as well as do well. So coming into this last pick here, we're going to see that Nakayama 1600 from Team Lovestruck. And it's going to be another Redshift map, as expected. So Kyoto, with the Kyoto map being banned immediately by Team Velocity for Team Lovestruck's pick. I honestly don't think there was a wrong pick here to ban. They're all basically inconsequential in difference. So we're definitely gonna be seeing a straight up brawl here on 7 actually Redshift accelable maps. So it's definitely gonna be a straight on head to head battle to see who can make the best Uma.
Yeah, we'll have to see how exactly they go about it, though, especially since we said ban bait, right? But it's not really bait. It's just something you have to do.
Yeah, it's I would not want to keep this one up, especially with the power of Team Velocity being in that first picks position. They can secure a really strong first 3 picks for themselves to do well on these first maps. Like if we take out some of Maru and Mihono Bourbon, right? My first instinct is going to be going towards, that Kitasan Black pick. So yeah, we are going to be seeing that map banned. And players are now going to be strategizing before we go into the Uma pick. So just a final look around at all these picks. So we're going to have basically 7 Redshift accelable maps coming in here for both teams, Team Velocity and Team Lovestruck. Team Lovestruck skewing a little bit more towards mile medium with that 1 mile pick, and 2 shorter medium tracks, while Team Velocity are going to have a little bit more of a longer skew. So definitely stamina is going to be a little bit of concern here for these teams. This kind of pick kind of forces the teams to be able to fight a little bit more on the deeper end, and that does make things a little bit uncomfortable, right? If things were more just medium mile, then you wouldn't have to worry about that stamina requirement. But in a one run format where you do have to worry about stamina, this does make teams play a little bit more cautious.
Yep. The UmaDraft, of course, being prepped for right now. And you mentioned the Redshift a ton. I expect a normal Maru to be off the board very quickly. And also, taking a look at the maps, pretty good for Christmas Ogre.
Yeah, Christmas Ogre, right? She is going to be an absolute force on 4 of these maps, even on the Derby herself. She does have a slightly delayed acceleration, but she is going to still have a very strong effect. So that's what we see coming in immediately for Team Velocity. Christmas Ogre taking off the map, the first of the 4 horsewomen gone, and let's see what Team Lovestruck will do. The sensible pick here to me would probably be to ban one of the strongest frontrunners, being either Smaru or Mihono Bourbon, and that would leave Team Velocity to pick up the other one. However, this does leave Team Lovestruck with the possibility of picking Kira-san Black and even Ballroom Saiyan or Gold Chip. These picks are going to be incredibly powerful on the Team Velocity pick of Nakayama 2500. So and even on different maps, Kira-san Black herself having a mid game unique is still pretty strong.
Yep, both are
And no,
recaps.
we're actually being seeing both Ogre Caps gone and a Dober first pick from Team Velocity. So this is quite interesting. Dober herself is her unique does activate on the start of the final corner, so it will work on all of these maps. But Dober, she does have that non-rush condition, and she has to be in those acceleration slots. Even though it's quite generous on 5v5, she's able to excel from 5, 6, and 7. But interesting priority here for Team Velocity. We are seeing that Mihono Bourbon coming in for Team Lustruck, as I suspected. One of the other, the one remaining out of the both actually remaining out of the 4 horsewomen. So Team Lovestruck here with a very strong frontrunner lineup.
Yeah, and Naruto Taishin as well, right? Especially the Nakayama 2500. But if there are maps where you can use that encroaching shadow, then you're very happy to pick up a Naruto Taishin.
Yeah, absolutely. On the Niigata 2000 that Team's Velocity picked, it's going to have that straight XL on the final straight, and on the Nakayama 2500 Ari Makinen as well. So Gold Chip and Naruto Taishin, arguably probably the strongest picks on these maps, so I'm not surprised. It seems like Team Velocity had a plan, right? They're going to be fighting more towards the back end, and leaving Team Lovestruck to have the front runners. And I wonder if this will pay off for them. Even with especially on these redshift maps, one thing we have to mention is these frontrunners, they're not only going to have access to angling and scheming, but also redshift itself. Frontrunners, they're going to be in the front, right? So that 1 to 5 slot acceleration is going to be very, very favorable towards them, and they're going to be able to have much more acceleration. So Team Velocity is going to have to make up a lot of ground in the mid game, as well as securely have enough speed to finish out and catch up to the frontrunners if they want to have a chance in this game.
Yeah, it's really a tale of two drafts here, backliner versus frontliner. And unfortunately for the backliners, though, I think so far in Umamusume, fronts have just been absolutely overwhelming. It's just hard to design a format that doesn't favor fronts, as the game itself currently does. And looking at the absolute trio from Lovestruck so far, their draft is looking pretty strong already.
Yeah, absolutely. These three horses, running any combination of 2 of these is going to be an absolute killer for the front line. They're going to be able to compete. They're going to be able to push the pace forward and have stable acceleration as well. So we do see that special week cover for Team Lustrek. Kind of interesting. I think this is kind of a bit of a pocket/secret pick that I think actually is quite strong. And Special Week herself more favored towards either running late or pace. Is going to do quite well on all these maps. She has access to that red shift if she wants to go pace. She has access to that Vegito Dober unique if she wants to go late. And with her unique just requiring an overtake on one target to have speed and additional acceleration, it is quite a strong hidden pick, I'd say.
Yep. That Ballroom Saiyan Sky, I'm a little bit worried for this Team Velocity draft.
Yeah, so this Team Velocity draft is I would not count them out just yet. These map picks are skewing a little bit more towards the kind of medium to upper medium range, and that's kind of where we see a lot of power of end closers being able to have room to climb and have that base speed to really close out. So I would not count them out. Ballroom Saiyan herself is definitely a strong pick, coming in built in with a top runner and escape artist, 2 of the tier 0 gold skills runners, I'd say. they really able to compete in their early game, and as compared to Mihono Bourbon, who has escape artist but does not have top runner, and she's not able to easily get taking the lead. Whereas compared to Saiyan Sky Ballroom, she's able to get taking the lead from that Bourbon with a free wit card, get groundwork if she wants to just run Falco and have 2 gold frontrunner skills to compete for first place. So I would definitely not count this Ballroom Saiyan Sky pick out. It can definitely do well amongst the picks that Lovestruck frontrunners have picked.
Just switching VCs because oopsie, forgot we were in the not live channel. Aishin Flash, I think, is a really interesting pick. I think the big thing, my takeaway from it is Team Velocity has pick, who has been known to play the Aishin Flash, and that's as far as my thoughts go on this pick because she is not quite the most competitive Uma.
Yeah, so a little bit of a lore story on Team Velocity Captain here pick. He showed up to Genesis with a 6 unique Aishin Flash, very, very impressively built. I believe she's one of his favorite Umas outside of Smart Falcon, so I would not surprising that this would come in the draft. And she is basically just a standard solid late surger, right? Doesn't really have too much, but doesn't really do too poorly either. If you put her in a position to excel, she's gonna do well. So definitely not the absolute worst pick here, and has room for for movement in this Team Velocity draft. So we're gonna have to really see as we get that gold chip, man, how the composition turns out, right? So far, we're having, 3 frontrunners, 4 frontrunners with that Saiyan Sky Ballroom, so that puts our lates and ends. I don't really see many pace here, other than special week, but going solo pace is rather dangerous in these kind of drafts. So this might end up being a late special week, and we're gonna see 0 paces in these lobbies. So that means the paces are actually the lates, I should say, are gonna be starting in that 5th position if things continue. So being in that 5th position, being able to have access to both Dober Unique and Redshift, that puts them in a really strong spot, even if the frontrunners have a lot of acceleration themselves. So I think Team Velocity is kind of hoping that their late surgers and enclosers is going to be more forward, just due to the pure room composition, and going with that, and alongside their kind of end closer and late surger velocity in the end game, they're going to be able to close out and catch.
We'll have to see. The second phase of the draft starting now. Any picks that aren't on the board that you think are notable enough to be taken here?
Yeah, once we get to this point, I'd say I'm still surprised we have not seen that red Maruzensky pick. Like, where is she? The red Maruzensky with that built-in redshift, is, I'd say, pretty strong on these these drafts, guys. Even if she cannot compete with these front runners, she doesn't need to, right? As if she can get in acceleration spot, she can be a really solid, just a points earner for the team, racking up 2nd and 3rd places and getting those secure wins. As this is a points competition, 1st to 25 will win.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. There's 2 picks here for Team Velocity that could prove to be interesting. Maybe the Marzensky will turn the tables, but we saw her in Carrot Clash, and we're also seeing Narita Bryan, who has been rising so much in popularity in like the second half of Draft's existence, right? UmaDraft at the start, Narita Bryan was not seen a lot, but I think nowadays she is an extremely popular pick that gets points very reliably.
Yeah, Narita Bryan, just an overall solid horse, able to run end closer, able to run late or pace, having that 0.45 velocity on the final corner or later. I'd say in this draft is a little bit scary outside of the Aramakinen and Niigata maps for Team Velocity. Redshift maps don't really do well for Narita Bryan, as she can end up whiffing her unique velocity in that excel zone. But overall, she is a very strong horse, very versatile, and able to slot into many positions and earn points for a team. And going alongside of that is going to be that Symboli Rudolph, able to run both late and end closers. So, Team Velocity here, I'd say, is showing up with an extremely interesting draft. And like I think you mentioned earlier, Saya, this is a tale of two drafts here, with Team Velocity skewing heavily ends and lates, with Team Lustrak having two of the strongest frontrunners in the game right now. And as we come to the final moments of draft here, Team Lustrak is going to be picking in that Satono Diamond. So let's take a look here at the overall draft. We're going to be seeing, 4 left-handed and 3 right-handed. So, Satono Diamond not really able to take too much advantage of that right-handed demon built in, but she is a relatively strong late surge pick as well. I'd say on the same tier, if not better than Aishin Flash. So I'd say this is going to be quite an interesting one. The teams are looking to be competing in the end closer, category and late category actually, which might bode well for Team Velocity because with only a couple of fronts, in the front runner slots, only 3, and if someone decides not to run one, for example, if Team Velocity does not run this Ballroom Saiyan, there's only 2 fronts in this lobby, and with only 2 fronts, it is not out of the room possibility that a front end closer will be able to take over this room.
Yeah, it's really gonna be so interesting. Which Uma do you think will be left out of each draft? Because I think when I'm looking at Team Velocity, there's an elephant in the room. I think Ballroom Saiyan Sky unfortunately finds herself the imposter among the backliners, and there's no real reason to push all of your backliners potentially even more so out of their optimal positions here, right?
Yes, this Ballroom Saiyan Sky really is only going to be able to perform on that Arima Kinen, which kind of actually makes me question this Kitasan Black ban from Team Velocity. Actually, if Kitasan Black was still here, and let's say one of the Mihono Bourbon or Marzensky was banned instead, really the only map that she has a dominant performance on is going to be that Nakoyama 2500, alongside Saiyan Sky. So getting banned there maybe is something that Team Lustrak was actually happy about. Team Velocity, I'd say, would not really want to play her in this draft, considering she only has a built-in advantage on that Arima Kinan. And when it comes to that, they already have, Narita Taishin, a 0.4 encroaching shadow acceleration on that map. So I don't think they're really hurting for aces on that map choice. So really, I'm really expecting to see that Saiyan not appear in the final picks. As far as Team Lovestrike goes, I say any combination of these horses, as long as it involves Mihono Berman and some Marzensky, is probably going to be the right pick. Both of them, even though this is shaping up to be a 2-front draft, all you need sometimes is 2 fronts competing with each other. That they get enough a lead, they get angling, scheming, redshift, and they can just run away with it. Without giving the end closers enough time to catch up. So the only shocker here, I'd say, is I'm still kind of a little bit shocked that we did not see that red Mazurensky come in. With 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maps of her having guaranteed acceleration basically here in this team composition. Not seeing her is quite a surprise.
Yep. We'll see how it ends up going, but I think this draft is definitely one of the less difficult ones to follow. I think both teams had pretty opposite game plans.
Yeah. So, we're going to be having maybe that Tachyon and Special Week being played in pace. I mentioned earlier that, if this Special Week was a solo pacer, she was not going to have a good time. But with that Agnes Tachyon joining her, if we take a look at what, Team Lovestrike can expect to have happen, right? They have 2 front runners and, they have 2 pace chasers. We're expecting Team Velocity to be entirely end and late heavy with all these horses gearing more towards those spots. Tachyon is going to basically have a free unique activation, which is really, really important. As I mentioned earlier, we do have a little bit of a stamina concern on some of these maps. They are relatively longer, that Arima Kinan, that Tokyo Derby 2400. So having Tachyon be able to securely get her unique and get that heal off and be able to activate Redshift on 4 of these maps is a pretty strong pick. So I'm definitely seeing the vision here for Team Lovestruck. With Special Week and Tachyon competing with each other for that third and fourth slot, holding onto that position. Summer Marzensky and Mihono Bourbon, competing with each other and pushing them forward, getting that strong front runner, angling and scheming plus redshift combo. And then kind of final late surge pick, either El Conor Pasta or Saturno Diamond. I'm probably not the Pasta in this case. She's kind of a final corner, unique Uma, and in this kind of case, it's not really reliable. I think I'd rather just keep with that Saturno Diamond's just solid, safe pick. I'd say, you can't really whiff with Saturno Diamond. If she gets to that final straight, she has a pretty wide activation range. She'll get her value off compared to Pasta that can sometimes just not activate or activate at the wrong time.
We'll have to see. It looks like they're starting careers here, but before we completely get into the careers, let's take a look at the maps again, the map list. Looking forward, since instead of just being on each side, they are now in the play order. How do you think the race schedule will affect how we see these teams strategize? Because again, the maps at the later part, number 5, 6, and 7, are obviously relatively deprioritized. In fact, there's a lot of cases where they don't even show up in stats, right? If you don't get to those maps, you don't earn points.
Yeah, so we're going to be seeing, to start off with those 2 redshift maps going into the Arima Kinen and then finally another redshift map. So these 4 maps are going to be, relatively fair, I'd say, right? The kind of danger I'd say that I see when it comes to drafting and when teams are kind of in a dangerous position is when they have picks that are more geared towards the final, later picks of the map. For example, if this Arima Kinen was kind of like, on position 6, for example, and both the Niigata and the Arima Kinen was kind of in the later parts of the draft, the end closers are not going to have as much as a good time, and something bad happens and you could lose before you even see the strong maps that you pick your horses for. So in this case, with that Arima Kinen being in that 3rd slot, even if Team Velocity were to somehow do poorly on the first 2 maps, they will still have a chance to fight back on that Arima Kinen and hold some points to kind of keep the map going until they reach their next checkpoint, which is going to be that 5th map.
Mm-hmm. All right. I guess we could take a peek at the careers now. It's mainly going to be Team Velocity to start. I think my eyes are immediately caught by a certain Uma that is not as popular in draft, but is associated with the captain, like you mentioned. But I'm gonna have to take a few seconds to set that up because this guy is streaming his phone. This guy, wait, that's yes. Okay. So lore. I think ping the Cat Bomb or someone about how can I capture my phone screen on the computer, and he was like SCRC Pi, and yeah, I've used that program, but it was for this, so to Discord stream the phone.
So quite an interesting choice here from Pick. Maybe he finds a little bit more comfort in using the phone in this competition, but just as you were talking about earlier, that Aishin Flash pick is kind of the standout here for Team Velocity, right? I'd say Aishin Flash is going to be, again, that standard kind of late surger slot. So let's take a look at that in terms of kind of this 2 team composition and room composition, more importantly. I mentioned earlier that Team Lovestruck is going to have that stable 1-2 plus 1-2 in the front pace pack, right? Assuming that Team Velocity doesn't, switch out one of these picks for a pace chaser, which I would probably think they were happy not to do, because with that Dober, being in late, with that Brian, Rudolph, even Aishin being in late, they're going to be pretty, stably excelling with the Dober unique. So assuming that is the case, the late surgers are actually going to be starting in the 5th position. So whoever is going to be the strongest late surger, they are going to be in that 5th position. What does this mean? I mentioned it earlier, right? We have a lot of Redshift maps, and Redshift is able to activate from 1 to 5. That means whoever is in that 5th position for the late surger pack, they're going to have access to not only the Major Dober unique, but also Redshift on instant XL. So, with a 0.4 acceleration on a late surger in the 5th position, that's a really strong spot for them to be in, right? Being in 5 with 0.4 accel, running it down with only 2 frontrunners in the lead to kind of fight and jostle for position, like these frontrunners are not going to be able to create too much space from the late surgers, and given that is the case, that puts the late surger in a really strong spot to catch up and overtake on the final straight.
Okay, so it's gonna take me a sec because these phones, I hate these phone streams. Okay, shout out to everyone like putting their POV so that we can watch, but like accounting for these different aspect ratios is killing me. I hate this. Okay, 2 more seconds. One more thought through me. Save me.
Yeah. So the last thing I would want to mention here is going to be kind of how this Narita Taishin kind of ends up. I actually do think that this Narita Taishin might just be an ace on only these 2 maps, the Nakayama 2500, the Niigata. Narita Taishin herself, while a strong horse, is not like a gold ship. She does not come in with built-in mid-game. Even though, enclosers have access to that daring strike nowadays, it is still not a guarantee for mid-game positioning for enclosers. So with Narita Taishin being potentially the only encloser in this room, she's not gonna be able to make up a lot of space on many of these maps in order to compete. So I say she's basically going to be their hidden ace for the map 3 and map 5 for Team Velocity, while on the other maps, Team Velocity is really looking to compete to see who is the strongest late surger and let that person, close out the map.
All right, we can finally get a decent feed of the spam tapping that Pick is doing right now. Aishin Flash, again, I've said it 3 million times, not the usual pick, and it's hard to get a picture of the deck as well, but this Aishin Flash could be iconic, an iconic moment in the UmaLeague.
Yeah, and we do see kind of an interesting sacrifice item, in Pig's shop there. I did see that can of cat food. That kind of sings to me that the first shop was not very good for Aishin Flash, having to find points to spend by buying cat food. It's quite an interesting spot to be in. But yeah, Aishin Flash herself, Pick. I've seen him do magic with this horse. I mentioned in Genesis he brought a 6 unique Aishin Flash. That is not something that many people can accomplish. You really have to dedicate your parents in order to make something like this happen.
Yep. Nerd Top Road. Importantly, the firm maps are not very many. In fact, there's only one firm condition in this entire draft. So unfortunately, Nerd Top Road will not be giving a massive benefit to users of the card.
Yeah, so we're gonna be having, 6 wet maps here with only that one final firm on that Tokyo Derby in the map 7. So not only the top road not be able to, contribute with her firm menace, green, gold. So even that being the case, Narita Top Road herself is quite a strong speed card in the match scenario. So still an overall solid choice for pick in order to also a really strong card in kind of in terms of events and stats as well. So even not being able to take advantage of that gold green skill, she's still gonna have to. Speaking of which, I do want to mention, there's one other thing that pick is known for, and it is using that Anshinzawa friend card, and I do see it in this deck. I did see it flash by the screens there. Pick notoriously known for getting that gold risky business skill on all of his horses. He loves that nothing ventured skill. 0.45 a gold acceleration with stamina minus. That could be something to look at. We do have 2 relatively long maps here with the Arima Kimen and the Tokyo Derby. So if that skill were to hit a little bit, unfortunately, it could cost Pick the game.
It did cost Pick an important race, I believe, during trainer training, right? It was an incredibly beneficial skill, of course, because of the massive number it gives. It's basically like an innate unique skill in terms of velocity. Unfortunately, he is also losing to Nishino Flower. Oh, he doesn't have 2,000 clocks. He has no clocks, so he's buying them with carrots.
Uh, yeah, this goes a sign of someone who has played way too much Umamusume. They have no clocks left, and it's not looking
Oh!
good for Pick here in this on this first year.
NSM vodka?
This is that NSM vodka
Okay, I
map.
can't look. Let's
Oh,
look at Moy. Let's look at Moy.
it looks like Pick is deciding to maybe potentially skip or send the door here and restart.
This
Maybe not.
resolution. What is this resolution?
Quite an interesting saturation on this resolution and screen share, but we are seeing Moy play Simbali Rudolph. I know Moy is actually a very, very strong gold ship player. So this gold ship, if it were to get through, would have gone to Moy. He's known, infamous actually, for making not once but even twice a UG gold ship in 5v5. So maybe getting that pick banned was probably one of the best things the team Love Struck could have done. I'd say.
My bad, guys. I clicked off during inspo. But the stream was so low resolution that like my eyes were hurting. FF.
Unfortunately, we're not gonna be able to see the infinite red sparks and URA man sparks high roll that Moy was gonna get there. But switching over now to the Narita Taishin player, so this is going to
Brian
be
is Scarlet. Scarlet is playing Brian.
Scarlet. Yeah, so Scarlet, a well-known Tachyon player, actually. So Team Lovestruck taking Tachyon away, maybe a targeted pick there from a Team Lovestruck. Scarlet, a I guess a well-rounded player. I'd say she's able to play, the Tachyon as well as frontrunners I've seen from her as well. So picking up this Brian pick, going either late or end, is not going to be too much of a trouble for her, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brian, of course, one of the friendlier Umas to play. I think the attitudes aren't working
with that
against you, and her
with the aptitudes being so strong. Yeah.
Inspiration. I won't click away this time. Will we see a distance S? Because that can be a huge difference maker in draft if you hit it on your first run, especially in the track blazer scenario. But no, that is not the case.
No distance S, but we do see that Nakayama Green might be key. That is the longest map that we have drafted here. So getting that, kind of safety net for an additional 40 to 60 stamina might be an important pickup here for Scarlet. So, yeah, I'm definitely not too unhappy about that one. As far as her stats go, going into, the first Satsuki show, I say she's pretty on track to have a relatively decent run. Nothing looks too stand out as far as a low roll. So just as I said, it's she gets beat by Majuro Bright. I mean Bright. This actually horse is really. What's going on here, guys? Air Shakur is claiming another one. Narita Bryan getting stuck here. Maybe it is a it is a pace heavy lobby, so being in that late position does sometimes get you stuck on these career races. So a little bit unfortunate here, losing 2 clocks for no reason to that Sasuke show. So a race you really cannot afford to lose.
Okay, so it looks like our stream plans have changed a little bit because Uma Party and Rito Dorm Dropouts have reached a race phase, and we were like, it would be cool to stream it. So that's what we're gonna do.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Give me just a second.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know, we have another match going on concurrently with this one, Uma Party versus Rito Dorm Dropouts. Uma Party being captained by Koyu, our resident front lover, and one teammate of his that I think everyone is going to be particularly known of is going to be Mr. Charles from Victoria Frontier himself. So he is currently streaming right now. He has been streaming their POV for their match. So let's go ahead and get set up to see who is going to be taking the final victory in that match.
Yep. I will be leaking lobby codes, I think, by accident. That's fine. That's fine, right? As long as everyone has joined.
Yeah. So let's go ask the teams for the final okay before you join. Yeah. Give me 1 second, guys. We're taking a short 1 or 2 minutes here to get things set up so we can view those final races.
Yep, I'm just gonna join the first 5 real quick. All right. And I need to set up the track as well. Awesome. So the teams are.
So we're going to be momentarily swapping over and watching the final races between Team Uma Party and Team Rito Dorm Dropouts. So I think I did have a copy of their draft here. Just give me 1 second and I'll pull it up.
Yep. If you have a. Let's see. If you have the draft link, that would be pretty helpful actually.
Yeah, so let me go ahead and share that with you. Actually, I don't have a draft link, but wait, actually, maybe I do. I'm gonna have to do some finagling here. Give me 1 second. 1 second, 1 second. Do a little bit of finagling here.
Let's see, duplicate.
Where's that spectator link? Here, 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 and this, and Saya. Here. This should take you to it.
Okay. Let's see, browser, draft, 3, 4.
And while Sai gets that set up, we are seeing Scarlet going to that first summer with her to Brian. Solid stats, really good training here. Actually, coming in from the middle of summer here, so I'd say this run so far is going a little pretty well. A little bit of unfortunate turn here, but we do see that whistle come through. So let's see what that gives us. Solid, really good wit training. Can't be too sad about that one. Really, really strong wit training, and that's something we really want to see in Mant. No, unfortunately, we don't have any weights that we can put on the Umas as they study and get that wit. So getting strong wit trainings is really important if you want to have a solid wit stat to end your career.
Okay. We should be good to start room 1.
Okay, awesome. Let me. You want to go? Okay, yeah. Let me go ahead and let them know.
Right, and again, this is 2 teams that you are pretty familiar. Everyone should be pretty familiar with, all things considered.
Okay, room 1 has started, and joining us here on the broadcast is going to be one of the Uma Party players, Destin, our regular caster here for our Umamusume events. So, Destin, without any bias, because I'm sure you will be an extremely unbiased caster in this match where your team is playing for the first time in the league. What do you think? How is it going into these races? What are you expecting?
Well, it was a little hairy on our side. We had one person who kind of low rolled, so we made a decision to put them into pace to help with the positioning of our late surgers. And we're hoping,
smart.
we're hoping that works out pretty well. But all of their Umas like look pretty good. Their Daiwa kind of surprised us. We didn't think they were going to pick. We knew they had to pick a second front, otherwise they would be at risk of only having one front if we decided not to run Kita. But we did not expect them to pick Daiwa. And then if there was only 2 fronts, then Daiwa was like really scary. So we had to play the Kita at that point, right?
Yeah, Daiwa Scarlet, never count her out. If she gets that Daiwa Rocket, she will just win for free. And being with only 2 frontrunners, if you're in that position, Daiwa basically gets it for free, as you say. So I'd say a pretty smart decision for Team Moon Party there to run that Kita-san Black. And take a look at some of the other picks that Team Rito Dorm RDD, I was calling RDD, to keep things short, has submitted relatively strong picks, as you say. No one seems to have done anything too disastrous here. I like to call it, a car crash, right? There's been no car crashes today in terms of training, so.
The fine motion looks.
Ooh, as you mentioned, yeah. So, yeah, the fine motion looks a little bit tough, but Mile S, Determined Descent, they did pick a couple Kyoto maps, so I wouldn't count them out just yet.
Yeah, and I mean, fine motion's unique is also very strong.
Are you guys showing the game or are you guys showing the?
No,
Yeah.
don't worry about it.
We just small scene change.
Yeah, don't just setting up the scenes. We were getting into that first race momentarily. So here we go. First race between Team Uma Party and Team Rito Dorm Dropouts. We are seeing a 3 front and how many paces? 1, 2 pace lobby, and everyone else is going to be in that late and end spot with the 1 gold ship. So interesting pick here for Team Uma Party with that gold ship in N on this a more mild, medium skewed map, I'd say. Map lineup, I'd say. So what was the thought process going to that pick, Destin?
Well, I really wanted us to pick Vodka, but they were insistent that she wasn't that strong. Like, we picked her just to deny at this point. We had already locked in. Like, they'd already decided we were going to play Gold Ship, but they were just, we can get Nimble Nav, and then Gold Ship with Daring Strike and Anchors Away is just really strong. She's basically not even an encloser. When she hits Anchors Away and Daring Strike, she is almost always in the front of the late pack, or at least in the middle of the late pack, so it's not too bad. And then she has a higher speed coefficient in the late race, so it all just kind of works out. She gets to basically be a late surger in the mid race, but have faster in late race speed.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. And taking a look at this lobby composition here, I did remember seeing the map picks from Team Uma Party and Team RDD is basically 7 corner 3 maps, I believe, coming out here for the race schedule. So all these races are going to be basically a competition between who gets that rod and who gets that double unique, right? With that with this lobby composition, though, whoever is going to be the number 1 late / end is going to be in that magical 5th position. So even if they push up pretty far, they're going to be still able to excel safely. So this composition, room composition so far, I think favoring a little bit more towards the lates.
Yeah, and that was kind of our thought, that we knew that one of us would have to go pace. They were originally wanting Ogre to go pace, but our Satono Diamond just had a little bit of a low roll. I think it's only like 1070 speed. So we were like, okay, let's pull the Ogre back to late and put the Satono into pace. So that way we have 5 frontliners. And so that way it's like all of our lates except 1, basically. Like only one or 2 backliners are gonna miss their Dober unique, and hopefully we can nimble off of something, even if we do miss.
All right, that sounds like a good solid game plan, and yep, we are ready to go.
I'll start the race then. Let's head right into it.
Leaking strats. It's already all over. What do you mean I'm leaking strats? Sorry.
Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, let's go.
All right.
Taking a look at this, we made a bit of a mistake. I love Tomboy2 might have too long of a username.
Oh yeah?
Maybe a little bit.
No, it's probably fine.
No, it's fine. Going this first map, Hanshin 2200. This is gonna be that Takarazu Kinen map. You know, whoever is gonna be in that excel position on that corner 3 is more likely to win. I'd say a little bit more favored towards fronts on this map in particular, with that extremely short final straight. But we'll have to see what happens.
Yep. Sorry, are you on play-by-play?
Yeah,
no, it's gonna be Saya.
Yeah,
Saya,
I guess
go
I'm
ahead, take it.
play-by-playing. So talk to me, Destin.
Yeah. All of our runners are in the lineup. We're going out. We got the firm course Menace. We did have 4 firm course maps, and they're all right-handed, so should be pretty easy for these front runners. And right out of the gate, we see the Marzinski taking a big lead, a little bit of a bigger lead than I would think, but I'm guessing she probably has DDPP. And the Kita-san immediately catches up, so it's not too big of a deal. But let's count these chiclets up here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ending with number 7. So in the front of the late pack is going to be Narita, Brian, and Dober. It's looking like Ogre and Goldship are at the back. Those two are not in Dober range for that Dober unique, so it's pretty bad for Uma Party. But look at that. We already see the Goldship just zooming through the late pack.
Yep, that is really scary, especially if she can maintain position enough for anchors away, and that looks like it's going to be easy with the number of fronts and paces in this lobby. Goldship anchors away without any trouble, just going to push up so far, and a Goldship that's pushed up that far is looking like a potential winner here.
Yeah, Goldship pushed up that far with Nimble Nav and Dober. She's in, I believe, 6th now, right? So 6th or 5th, so she's guaranteed to hit that moving past and beyond as long as she didn't rush. And it looks like the special week. Oh, and the Sotono Diamond hitting a frame 1 NSM along with the fine motion as well.
Yep, so incredibly fast here. You got to watch out. This summer Marzensky has the lead, but for how much longer? Already the Kita-san Black falling behind, and my eyes are on that gold chip here. And that gold chip's going to perform for Uma Party. That's going to be a lot of points, but so is that Narita Brian from the middle. Will it be enough to take a podium spot past the Sotono Diamond? It's going to be difficult, and Sotono Diamond's going to hold on.
Yeah, so it's going to be Uma Party getting 1st and 3rd. With that Summer Marzinski in 2nd place for RDD. That's going to be really good points going out of map 1.
Yeah, really impressive showing here. You know, that gold ship really performing, as you said, Destin. You know, being in kind of that late end pack, she had a lot of room to work with, a lot of people to compete with and activate that overtake mode. And, you know, seeing her basically even before getting that anchors away in that 6th position was honestly, I think it was feeling pretty safe there for Uma Party at that point. You know, getting to that 6th position so soon, anchors away, catching up to the pace chasers, and getting that Dober unique, as you said, a lot of room to make up, a lot of room to catch up, I'd say, for this front runner Marzensky. It was looking a little bit dicey there, but, you know, gold ship is gold ship.
And I'm really curious what happened to that Ogre Cap. Going into the late race, she was just so far behind everyone else. I wonder who made that Ogre.
Oh, we wonder, but you know, sometimes it be that way, and kind of these, you know, late and end heavy lobbies. There's only so many spots for that position to excel, and if you don't land one of those, you're gonna be stuck in 9/10. So we'll definitely have to see how that goes into going into the next couple of matches here, and heading into the next match, we're gonna be seeing that Hakodate 1600. Well, 1800, I should say. My bad. 1800, another right-handed map, and impressively, there is 6 right-handed maps here. So Sotono Diamond not being able to have much of an impact here with a low roll run. Unfortunately, not able to take advantage. But you know, I can definitely see you guys' game plan there with that pick.
Yeah, and even with the 1070 speed, having the right-handed Menace or right-handed Demon, I forget what her skill's called, but her gold skill on those right-handed maps, plus she has medium S, so I think on these medium maps, even with the 1070 speed, she's over 1200 speed when you include the gold green and the medium S.
So we have our next match loaded up here is going to be that Hakodate 1800, another corner 3 acceleration mile map, actually. So We're a little bit of a shorter map this time. Gold Chip is going to have a little 400 meters less room to work with in terms of catching up the mid race. But, in this kind of lobby competition where she's the only end and she has a lot of people to kind of compete with and overtake, I think she's still going to being in a strong position to get to that acceleration spot and close out another win for Team Uma Party potentially.
Yep, that would be very nice. No bias. I definitely don't want Ogre to perform a little better this time. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, Ogre Cap, the original, is one of our 4 horsewomen of the apocalypse. Incredibly strong performance, almost 100% presence across all. I believe we're over 200 games now in season 1 of the solo queue ladder for UmaDraft 5v5. So. Yeah,
I did miss Professor of Curvature. Maybe that's why she was so far back.
When it comes to these end lobby, heavy lobbies, sometimes, if you proc a skill at the wrong spot, you just end up getting blocked. So, all right, over to you, Saya.
Yeah, and taking a look at the start of this race, of course, it is shorter than the previous one, being a mile after all, and the aptitude is going to change. But of course, with most Umas in Umamusume being a mile or medium favoring, it's not that big of a deal.
It's not. But one thing that is kind of a big deal is Daiwa Scarlet getting the 10th gate coming out of the front, which, as a front runner, you don't usually like to see that too much. You can see she's already a little wide as they go into that first corner. So she's going to end up having to spend a lot of movement going into the inner rail. And you can just see the gap between Kita and Daiwa just based off of getting that 10th starting gate is pretty unfortunate. But on the opposite end, Summer Marzinski for RDD did get gate number 1. So she already has a pretty strong lead, but we'll see if Kita can close it out. Looking at that late pack, we don't see Goldchip pushing up quite as far this time. It looks like Ogre is kind of tailing back there with Special Week. Dober herself is also in a good position to hit her unique. But she's pushing up a little too far. She's already past the fine motion. She's not going to be able to hit her unique from there.
And that's often the danger. Kita's black, though. Victory cheer. A bit interesting.
Well, that's carryover.
Yeah, that spot's going to be really interesting to see in second place, of course, but as
Corner Connoisseur!
Oh my goodness, Corner Connoisseur is a sight we saw so much on the Wednesdays of the past few weeks in trainer training, and now here as well. It's Mejiro Dober rocketing into first place, and no one left to contest her. That gap is too wide. She's just too fast. She's going to take first place here, and that's going to be huge points for Dorito Dorm dropouts as they take first, they take second, and they take third.
And they take third. Man, I must have gotten blocked. I hit the Corner Connoisseur and that Ogre just didn't move at all. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, really unfortunate here. But speaking on Team RDD, that Mejiro Dober actually getting frame 1 unique plus NSM activation. I saw it go off and she just rocketed forward like absolutely insane speed. And as we saw there, there was no one that could touch her on that final straight.
Yeah, it looked like she had pushed up past the fine motion, so I thought she was out of position, but maybe I miscounted. She must have been in 5th when she passed the fine motion, or maybe someone overtook her after she passed, maybe.
Yeah, it's probably going to be, I don't quite remember, but yeah, I'd say around that 5th position. Definitely in order for her to stably activate her unique. And I think it was she on top of, I'm not sure who was in the 4th. I think it was one of the PlayStations for 4, but whoever was there, she gave her a 0.8 acceleration. And when you hit a 0.8, as we saw there, it's just unbeatable. The horse is just way too fast.
Yeah. And Ogre did hit the frame 1 Corner Connoisseur, but all it earned her was 4th place. Very unfortunate. I guess that means I was the fastest Uma on my team, though.
Yeah, Corner Connoisseur, as we see, I absolutely despise the skill, but people keep picking it up and it keeps doing things, and I hate it. But let's coming into this next race. Let's see if Team Uma Party can pick it back up. That Renita Brian also on that map on the final on the last map, being able to excel into getting that unique shadow break built in 0.45 on the final straight / final corner, really able to just have a lot of speed. So she's able to get 3rd place for the RDD team as well.
Indeed. And sorry, I'm just joining the other rooms, so a little distracted.
No problem. So,
So
going into this next map is going to be Sapporo 1800. So it's another mile map.
So actually, Terumi, there's some interesting parts about this entire format, right? Ever since we moved away from a best of 7 to a point system, there's a lot that goes into what situation the teams are in at certain numbers of points, right? What do you have to say about the current situation of 5 to 9?
Yeah, so I'd say 5 to 9. We are not we're not too far apart just yet. Even with Team Rito taking a solid win on that podium, it is not too far. But what it does do is afford them a lot of space, right? A lot of times, with our new points format, games will go to that final best of 7, and a key thing to make sure that happen is just getting those snaggling points or getting a strong lead out the gate in your first races in order to secure yourself enough breathing room to make it that far and have a chance to fight back. If this was just a match win format, we can see that whoever gets to 4 wins, and usually that happens around the 5th or 6th game. We never see that hit tiebreaker. So getting a strong lead here for Team RDD is gonna afford them a lot more mistakes in this upcoming matches to get to that final map on the tiebreaker and fight for the final win.
Yeah, and also, right, in other games, it's like mistakes, right? But in Uma, it's variance. You can't control unlucky things that happen in Umamusume to a certain extent. But the big thing here is that once you have those points on the board, you can't get unlucky in the past.
Yep, exactly. So, going to the next race.
Gates 8 and 9 for the Daiwa and the Summer Marzinski, both of them starting on the outside, should give Kita an advantage as long as she can push up. But the mile, is this a mile track? I don't think so. I think this is a medium, so that shouldn't have been Mile Maven. But I think Kita-san should be okay here as long as she can keep Marzinski from closing that door in front of her. And it looks like she's trying to hold out, but that Summer Maru is just pushing really far. Oh, we see the Unyielding Spirit come through, though, so that's good for her. And in the back line, we have Gold Ship already in the late Surger pack without anchors away. This Uma is disgusting, but it's on my team, so it's okay. Special Week pushing up with Dober right behind her. Those two Umas are in a very good position. Dober is in just as good of a position as she had last time. She's right there at the end of the pace pack. She's in perfect position to hit her unique. But we see the Gold Ship with the anchors away.
And we're spectating this Kita-san Black here, who does activate pretty early, all things considered, but is in that first place position, beating out that Summer Marzinski with the velocity, getting the angle and scheme, getting the Radiant Star. This Kita-san Black is rocketing, but look at the Mejiro Dober. She is such a consistent performer. She was one of the Umas we were scared of at the very start of draft even being a thing, getting an extra position to activate unique in, but that Radiant Star was just perfect. It's Kita-san Black bringing home so many points for Uma Party in first place by so long. Second and third, though, are still occupied by the Rito Dorm dropouts, who will still be chilling with a large amount of points.
Yeah, really needed points for Uma Party. Getting the Kita-san in first place stems the bleeding a lot. Getting second and third combined is still less points than getting first, so that Uma Party is definitely going to be happy with the Kita-san win. And I'm disappointed that Oguri hit a bunch of velocity on the home stretch and got blocked by the fine motion, so she could not push up and try and get into that third position, but that's okay.
That's how it is sometimes.
Yeah, so this Kita-san Black here really performing well. One thing to mention about Kita-san Black, we always talk about her in the context of her being an extremely strong front runner Uma on long maps with that built-in straight acceleration, right? But on some of these other corner 3 maps, I'd say she's also almost equally as strong with some of these maps, allowing her to basically guaranteed speed carryover with her unique activating on the start of corner 3, going into a corner 3 excel zone. So I think we saw there, her unique at the start of corner 3, securing her first place spot, activating mile corners there as well for a little speed carryover. She didn't even need the Radiant Star, but she got it anyway, and it was a solid win.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just an unconditional Kiss for Courage, right? And you can always proc it when you want it to proc most of the time. Like it's on these corner 3 maps, it's just very good as long as you are in that top 2 position. I think it still has that condition of being in second or better, even when it's mid race proc. But I mean, with only 3 fronts, you just have to be better than one of them, you know. So Kita-san definitely slept on distances outside of long. I think her unique is very strong, because I think a lot of people forget that it has 2 different activations. So if it activates as a mid race, it's not a hybrid proc. It's a 0.35 pure velocity, no excel.
Yeah,
a lot of people just see the 0.1 excel with the 0.25 velocity, and they think it's a worse mid race than KFC or Cacao.
Yeah, we definitely saw it there. Like Kita-san Black had a solid advantage. And one thing I did have to mention, I believe the Maruzensky did not proc her gold Malmaven skill, so a little bit of fortunate there for Team Uma Party, really able to secure that lead and hold on with that Kita-san Black, going on to a strong win. So going into this next map, we're going to be on the Kyoto 2000. So one thing to mention, we did kind of hint at it earlier with the fine motion pick, right? Even though it did not hit as strong as I think Olga would have wanted, she did buy that gold descent skill, and this is the map where it will activate in that zone. So Kyoto 2000, Kyoto 2200, infamous for being, having a conveniently placed downhill in the acceleration zone. So let's see if it'll come into play here.
Yeah, the only reason this Uma is S rank is because of her wit stat. She still has max speed, and the Uma is very scary, especially on this map, like you said, because of the gold determined descent. But she also has gold head on, and I believe she had another gambling excel skill. Like this Uma, if she hits everything, is just insane. I'm kind of scared of it. I'm just hoping the 800 wit will work out and make her. We've seen it a few times where the late surger passes her and knocks her out of her range to hit her unique. So it ends up being not that scary, but this is one of the maps where I'm still a little scared of it.
Yeah, and aside from that, just another gonna be another corner 3 acceleration map. So eyes on that late surger pack. For the past 2 maps, it has been that Dober being the #1 late surger. So let's see how it turns out in this match.
Yep, and it looks like maybe a little bit of a late start out of the Summer Maruzensky. The Kita-san came out of the gate just a little bit ahead of her, but it looks like she hit DD and did not hit PP. She is way out there in the outer lane.
Oh, but
she's gonna push really late PP with Leader's Pride. But she's gonna have a hard time closing the door when they go into the corner. When you're overtaking in the corner, you have to get back into that inner lane to secure your overtake, or your Uma just kind of gives up and exits speed up mode. And when you're in the corner, it's really hard to get back into that inner lane when the Uma's right next to you, and we see it happen there. She goes back into second place because she can't quite close the door. But we do see the fine motion pushing up. I was hoping she would get, unbiased. I was worried she would get overtaken by a late surger and be unable to proc her unique as we go in there. But I think she's supposed to be in 4th for it. So in 5th, she's not going to proc it. But we do see the anchors away procking. The Dober in the back with the special week. If that special week can push up a little bit further, she could completely deny the Dober unique. So we have to keep an eye on those chicklets.
Gotta be really careful here. Kita-san in first place, just barely, with the victory cheer heading into the final leg. Angling and scheming, procced, and no stopping me instantly. This fine motion is rocketing forward. Fine motion is getting it done. Swinging a little bit wide, but not really much to be called wide at all. She is overtaking absolutely everybody with the Speedstar velocity, and the Narita Bryan is there right with her. Has the Raging Star, the Ogre Cap on the inside. Triumphant Pulse. That's going to be first place for the Ogre Cap. Narita Bryan chasing, but Ogre Cap from the inside gets it done, and on the inside again. Wait, who got third?
I don't know. I was too busy celebrating that my Uma won.
Number 9. That's Charles with the special week, getting third. Uma Party. Uma Party's back.
Ogre came from nowhere. Even you didn't see her. I had to call her out. I have no clue where she came from. She just weaved in through the middle, and somehow she had the inner rail with Triumphant Pulse.
Yeah, before this, it was a 9-12 scoreline. Now the gap is completely closed here.
14 to 14.
deadlocked. And one thing that I have to point out there, this is something I see happen all the time, and something that also happened many times in the past event we just ran, the trainers training, is when we see that there is a decent number of front runners, the pace chasers just tend to always swing so wide, especially in a 3-front kind of composition. Kind of what happens is going to be the first front runner is going to be on that inside rail, right? And the second front runner is kind of competing with them on the rail number 2. And then the last front runner is kind of just dead on the inside rail behind them. But them being there, hogging up the inside rail, forces the pace chasers to kind of exit into lane 2, where they'll meet the second front runner who's also dying because they don't have rod, and that's what rockets them into lane 3. And when you're in that third lane going to final corner, you just start speeding up and going to Narnia. So something that happens all the time, and it happens here again, that being a pace chaser in these 3-front lobbies is very dangerous.
So I went and looked. Ogre was in 7th at the start of the late race, so she hit Pump and Dober into Nimble.
Wow.
Wow.
You can't complain about that one.
Yeah, no, I will absolutely take that. The really good thing about, well, I don't know if it's a good thing, but one of the things about this being a 10 UMA format, a lot of the Bestie and Slav viewers are probably used to Carrot Clash and CM, where it's 9 UMAs in a 10 UMA lineup. That Dober unique works in 5th, 6th, or 7th. So makes it a very strong inherit, and it's why Dober herself is very scary.
It's interesting how Dober isn't one of the 4 horsemen, right? Her presence isn't a crazy like 99, 98, 97%. It's a modest 59% presence.
Yeah. And it's because a lot of the times, if you see a Dober, you can, if depending on what pick order the Dober comes out, like let's say they first pick the Dober, you don't have to ban it. You can just pick like 5 frontliners, and you can force the Dober to go into pace where like she's just not really as good, and it's still super gambly. She can only proc if she's at the back of the late pack or at the back of the pace pack. But if she goes late, she's guaranteed to never hit her unique, and it just makes her it makes her feel really awkward to play. And in this lobby, they picked it a little late. It was like their 3rd rotation, I want to say, and we had already kind of decided on our game plan, and we just accepted that them having Dober was an acceptable risk. And it kind of bit us in the ass on round 2, but it's worked out so far.
Yep, and heading into this one, both teams securely at 14 points, 25 to win. And you can get there in a number of different ways, but the easiest one is, of course, securing that first place spot.
And, I'm a little obsessed with these gate positions. Kita-san in 3rd, Daiwa in 4th, Maru in 6th. We'll see if that has any effect on their final positions, but I think we should see the Kita. Oh my god, that Summer Maruzinski is in the.
Oh.
She went to go see her fans.
Yeah, but she's swinging right back real fast. That's looking like some prudent positioning here.
That was a really good prudent positioning proc. The Kita-san proc prudent positioning, but she's already on the inner rail, so she doesn't benefit from any of that increased velocity. But she's close enough that it should be okay. I think Victory Cheer will put her over. If she doesn't just overtake on her own, she just decided to run faster. Okay, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the rest of the backpack, though. We have the Sotono Diamond, the Fine Motion, everything's lined up a little bit as we expect. The Dober at the front of the late pack with Ogre right behind her. Let's see, it looks like we have Gold Ship in 9th. And who is our anchor? It's going to be Special Week. So Special Week's falling a little behind. She's definitely not going to be in a position to do much unless she has no stopping me. I think our eyes are going to be on Dober, Gold Ship, and Ogre, but the Kita-san.
Yeah, the Kita-san looking good, but again, this lobby is set up in such a way that is so friendly to the backliners that are pushed the most up, right? Even if you push up really, really far, you are still in that
NSM.
6th place, and that's going to be Kiwi's Dober. That's going to be RDD looking good for some points here. The Gold Chip as well, though, chasing the backliners, looking likely to run down the frontliners in this one. And actually, Gold Chip ahead of the Dober in this one. What? The Gold Chip just running faster and further, and that's going to be a first place. That's going to be second to... No! It's second to Kita-san! Kita-san maintains an Uma party off to a massive lead.
Kita-san, that's my Uma. She held out with the. I think she has firm course Menace and medium S. Is this one of our mile maps though? Oh man, there's so much going on my end because I'm also a player, so I have to keep looking at other things.
Yeah, so this is going
It is a
to
medium.
be
Yeah.
that a medium map on the Sapporo 2000. So another solid corner 3 map. We saw another, I believe, speed carryover from Kitasan Black and a Radiant Star right before the late race. So really solid, a really strong speed carryover there, allowing her to hold on to that second place position despite the instant NSM and Dober unit coming out from that Dober chasing her down. So yeah, really strong hold from Koyu on that Kitasan Black. And again, Azu on Gold Ship, we see him again pushing up really far in the mid race. So a kind of repeat of what we saw on that first race on the Hanshin 2200, able to kind of get into a good strong position even before he needed to anchor, and he was basically neck and neck with that Dober entering late race, and being right neck and neck with an end closer is not a position you want to be as a late closer, as a late.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean you can hit you. Oh, sorry.
Oh, we're at 9 out of 10 on lobby 6.
Is it me? I don't think it's me.
No, it's not you.
Okay, not me. Good. Don't care. Like you can hit 0.8 excel all you want, but when the encloser is right next to you, also hitting a 0.4 or a 0.6 as well, like it just isn't gonna matter. You know what I mean? The gold chip is.
I know who it is. It's Mr. Charles Victoria Frontier.
Oh my god.
There we go.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Person report.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw him under the bus. We have to give him the room codes. He doesn't go to the website and click copy. I think it's because he's not in streamer mode, so the room codes aren't hidden. So I don't blame him. But
no, he's there, but he might be a little bit worried about leaking it, but it's fine.
Yeah, that's fair too.
Uma party dorm dropouts. This is close. And I also peeked at like an earlier match score, and that one was close too. Like, this tournament is serious business.
Yeah, I believe so far every match has been going to the final tiebreaker, and it's been really close all the way. Even some of the discrepancies, like the last match that I watched, it was basically neck and neck until like the tiebreaker, where one of the teams took it in a podium sweep. But yeah, like anything can happen in 5v5, and with UmaDraft going to tiebreaker, and having and you never know who's going to win it in the end.
Yeah, and speaking of the tiebreaker, we are actually at match point. If Uma Party gets first and second or third, it's over.
Yeah, so we are at a 20-15. Uma Party really waking up in the last couple of races, and we talked about it earlier. Saya brought it up. Getting Team RDD getting that podium on that second map was absolutely key for them making it this far. And if they're able to just snag a second place here on this map, they're gonna be able to get themselves a final chance on the tiebreaker.
They have to get second and third or first. But if they don't get first, they have to get second and third.
Yeah, so eyes on this final race to see if Team RDD can hold out until that tiebreaker. And it's going to be another mile map, Kokura 1800, another corner 3. So eyes on that Kita-san Black. She's been doing magic for Team Uma Party, able to steal the lead away from Summer Marzensky, just absolutely doing work for her team.
Yeah, but it's a little scarier on these mile maps because of that mile maven on the Summer Marzensky. But we'll see if the Kita-san can work that magic again, make another miracle happen, and close us out before we even go to the tiebreaker. Oh man, my legs are shaking.
It's so close.
Getting a little bit nervous, Dustin.
It's so unbelievably close, and
well, there's a lot of pressure on me because it was either me or the Satono Diamond that was going to get put into the pace position, and so like I would feel really bad if I made Kalu go into pace and then I didn't perform, So
you did secure that one first place for your team, so Ogre Black, Ogre Cap, not Kita-san Black, Ogre Cap. You never count this horse out. 0.45 soulful unique is very strong.
Yep. And I actually noticed this is the first race that Special Week has been #1 favorite. I wonder if the game knows something we don't.
Although I'm seeing some firm course menaces and a right-handed demon. Can we talk about the skill names? Those skill names are so funny. Like, they did not have to make those the skill names.
They didn't, but I'm glad they did. And I was going to make another comment about the gate positions, but chat's probably tired of me bringing it up. The Summer Marzinski did have the outer lane, but she managed to pull through the Mile Maven, but the Kita-san is still right on her tail. Like, that is not that much of a lead when you have, oh, and I see Corner Connoisseur procced in corner 1.
But she is pushing
Not a
up
big
quite
deal.
a bit. This Ogre cap is looking quite nice if she can continue overtaking, especially into the Pace Chaser territory, as we are well out of the no zone at this point. A big opportunity for this Ogre cap to surge forward. The positions are looking like she is in 5th. Radiant Star activated a little bit early, and it's just so scary, these backliners.
Yep, and we see the victory cheer proccing on the Kita-san, but that Summer Marzinski's in 1st, and those orbs around her tell me she did not miss her rod. So now we just have the Ogre cap and the Special Week. Special Week proc something. I see acceleration orbs.
Yeah, but it's a fairy tale here. Fine Motion, the one who is surging forward in this one. The rest of the pack still relatively static. Number 5, that is that Special Week who is surging forward almost past the Fine Motion. Will it be enough is the question.
Triumphant Pulse.
Fine Motion, Ogre cap on the inside. Special Week looking to secure the win, and that's going to be it. That's going to be Uma Party winning the first game here.
That is it. 26-16. Uma Party going 1-0.
And an incredibly strong finish. I was a little bit worried there. I saw well, not worried. I was a little bit concerned for Team Uma Party, but maybe a little bit excited for Team RDD to make a comeback when I saw that Fine Motion pop neck and neck, that gold head on frame 1. Actually, a crazy instant XL, but just not enough speed or to close it out, unfortunately, for this Fine Motion. So the Ogre cap and Special Week on the inside rail, Special Week a little bit on the outside, but with her strong unique that we alerted to before, just overtaking 1, getting acceleration and speed, and having that late surger endgame velocity, competing, maybe even dueling with that Ogre, actually holding their hands together as they take over Summer Marzinski in first place. So really impressive run here from Team Uma Party, and honestly, really well thought out draft. I think putting that Satono Diamond in pace was absolutely key for their win here.
Yeah. And very well played to the team of Uma Party. Quite the interesting draft, dual MVPs, and Akita-san Black, like you mentioned earlier, performing quite well on these non-long maps.
Should we go jump scare them?
I would like to, but unfortunately, we do have another match coming up here that we have to cast. But yeah, congratulations to Team Uma Party and Team RDD for their first match, and especially big congratulations to Team Uma Party for their first win on the league.
All right, I'm gonna go down there and talk to my team for a little bit, and then I'll come back up and help you guys cast if you want to.
Yep. All right. And to replace Destin, we have
the next team member, right?
Hello. Wait.
All right, joining us
Did I mess up
for
the
this cast
Wait, what?
is going to be
Okay, never mind.
JJ from Team Velocity.
That's me.
Oh, and immediately we're jump scared by a UG Mihona Bourbon. Damn.
That's always scary.
This bourbon's looking pretty good.
Yeah, she's got that long S. She has the wet conditions. This draft is, as you can tell, is primarily wet conditions. She's definitely stamped for every map. I think she can actually do a few laps around a few of these maps. And she does have the tail combo going on, which is really scary for the mid game.
All right, Velocity versus Lovestruck. Gonna have the graphics up in just a second here. But JJ, I guess, how are you thinking, looking forward into this race since the career portion is wrapping up?
There was a lot of discussion about us not needing Umastan based on how everyone's careers went. We're huffing copium, and this bourbon looks like it's gonna create a bit of distance between the front and back of the pack, so that's a bit scary for us. Really curious how that Summer Maru is gonna look, because the second frontrunner pacing up this bourbon is really going to be the question at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking on the cast, Team Velocity obviously coming in here with a game plan, looking to compete on the end and late front. Team Lovestruck, handing over to Team Lovestruck, both Mihono Bourbon, Valentine, and Summer Marzensky, the two strongest fronts in the game right now, arguably. So, what was your team's game plan there? Was it you were just expecting them to take the fronts and you were just gonna have compete on the lates in that fifth slot?
Yeah, I mean, the idea is really we believe we can run them down and make better backliners than they can make frontliners in an average draft scenario.
Wow, so those are fighting words coming out from Team JJ, Team Velocity on JJ there. So we have to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, the one nice thing about this draft for my team is that our primary backline excels aren't really contested based on their draft. They're a bit more front focused. What will be interesting is if that Spay is either pace or late, because that's going to change the lobby comp significantly.
We were, kind of talking about, the kind of overall lobby composition. The Team Lovestruck has two fronts, and we were predicting that Special Week might be actually pace because with that Special Week and Tachyon being in pace, they just have someone else to compete with, right? Being a solo pace and kind of a front and 8 and late heavy lobby is kind of a death sentence for that pace, oftentimes. So having a second pace is going to make it much more comfortable for those two horses to run. And that being the case, that means the number one late surger is going to be in that fifth position.
Yeah, and that's really important because Dober's unique is going to proc from 5, and if you're not able to get up to 5 or up to 6, then you always have your backup option in Ryan if you've taken that. Obviously, on the tracks where it's valid, Spurt can work from any position. So you get into really funny conditions potentially where if Taishin pushes up far enough, she can potentially be spurting from 5th place or 4th place or even further. We'll have to see what the pace chasers actually end up looking like strength wise, if that's going to be an option or not. But it's always something to keep in mind because she's not as restricted as late surgers with her excels.
Yeah, and one thing to note is you guys did have a majority redshift map draft here with 4 out of the 7 maps being in that final corner. That means both Dober unique and that redshift can be able to activate at the same time for whoever's the number 5. And then for the front runners, they're going to have access to both angling and redshift. So one thing to really look forward to see is how that kind of front half looks, who's going to be in that 1 to 5 position, and more key, who is going to be in that 5th position to get that 0.4 XL.
Yeah, any speed carryover into moving past into redshift is basically a death sentence for the frontliners unless they have a significant lead or that backliner wide swings.
All right, it looks like I've joined the first 5 rooms, ready to go when they fill.
Okay. I believe we're just waiting on one more player in the first room right now.
Did they submit a screenshot?
Oh, and everyone is in the room.
Okay.
It was actually the bourbon, so we do know that screenshot was submitted.
Okay. Yeah.
We did show it on stream for like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Okay, so going into the first map is going to be Tokyo 2300, the sister map to the Tokyo Derby, Tokyo 2400. Basically the exact same map, I'd say, just with a minus 100 meter in the final straight. So what are you guys' expectations going into this first race?
My expectations are well. I missed whatever you guys were talking about, but my expectations are wow. They let V Bourbon and Summer Maru through. This is going to be crazy. But they did get the Dober that didn't get banned, so it might work out okay. But I think that's really what it's going to come down to is if a couple of these backliners can hit and just make up the difference. We do have a UG Taishin. Very nice, very nice.
And interestingly here, we are seeing Team Lovestruck with the 3 pace 2 front setup. They did not opt to go for any lates, choosing to hog up all 5 of the redshift acceleration zones. So Team Velocity might be in trouble here. Their number 1 late is now suddenly not going to be secured 5th, but they're going to be looking at that 6th slot.
But their number 1 late is probably going to be Measure of Dober. So
yes,
Dober
that is true.
lacking a bit of mid game, but the thing that's really interesting to me about this 3 pace decision is actually that means that Team Velocity, all their backliners are going to have the 5 through 7 slots. So all those excels for at least 3 members are going to be online. So every map, they're basically going to be sending 3 soldiers forward and just hoping that they run down this front pack.
Yeah, but
that is true. But you will have to overtake one of the pace chasers to allow this to happen.
yeah, and it is true, but I am still worried because the inherited Dober, if they're in 5th or 6th, so they don't get the pump, the inherited Dober on its own is just going to match the redshift, right? Those are just
Right.
2
Now, I do
equal
know
point
a lot
twos.
of these backliners did get NSM.
Ah,
Not all of them, but some of them did pick that up. I know Dober picked that up because it's my Dober. But we'll have to see.
We'll have to see indeed going into this first match. Eyes on picks Aishin Flash. How do you guys feel about your captain picking up that gold nothing ventured skill?
Oh, we've learned to accept it. Really, it's really a way of life at this point. We don't even really think about what happens if he stands out, because he's got at least 1 hesitant pace chaser debuff, so he's going to do his job anyway.
Fair enough. That is going to be hitting all 3 of Team Lovestruck's pace chasers, so maybe a key pickup there.
I mean, you just have to respect it. Going for nothing ventured in a 1-hour limited run gamble situation is it earns my respect either way. And it's ironic that it's Aishin Flash, which is the same Uma he brought to Genesis with nothing ventured on it as well. So
All right, Destin JJ, you're up.
All right, and the race has started. We got some speed skills out of Dober to start. Concentration taking the lead. It looks like the front runners are really off, and Summer Maru and Bourbon are really going to be pushing up here. Cacao is a guaranteed activation coming up, and that's just going to extend the lead. As long as this S Maru just keeps pushing, then that gap is just going to get longer and longer.
yeah, it is going to get longer and longer, which is pretty unfortunate for these backliners, but they are only dealing with a 0.2 inherited rod, right? So it's not the end of the world. Well, they also have the 0.2 redshift as well. Have to keep that in mind. These redshift maps are such a rare occurrence for me. I'm not used to seeing them, so I always forget about that redshift. So they have 0.4s as well, basically guaranteed for that whoever's in first place, which is pretty scary with the gap this large. And it does look like H-Jax is in the front of that late pack. Is that a late Taishin?
That is a end Taishin, actually. Taishin is just, playing the end closer role. They like to get in front of the lates. I think Dober has been in a solid 10th place for this whole race, so she's definitely out of contest. Radiant Star, Fast and Furious, Tail held high are great timing, but Dober's just too far back. She's probably not going to get the activation here.
Yeah, Dober too far back, and the Nemesis proc on the Taishin is probably too early. If that duration's still going to be active when they get out of the acceleration, it might end up being pretty good. But the Satono Diamond hitting the Eternal Come, seeing the Schwartz coming out of the Aishin Flash as they push forward. Taishin trying to close the distance.
Really fast. She's coming up. I'm not sure if she's going to be able to close this gap, but she's probably going to secure second at least.
And third,
secure second. Oh, I couldn't tell. It was either Satono. I think Satono was behind. I couldn't tell who was on the
Yeah.
inner rail, but I think Satono got
think
fourth.
Bourbon squeaked it out, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Yes,
Satono
Bourbon.
Diamond in 4th. Wow, so incredibly close.
Yes, but I mean, at least the Taishin closing out the podium is still really important. 7-0 out of the first race can feel really, really daunting going into the rest of the matches. So at least getting something in there in the podium is still good.
Yeah, you definitely do not want to see that kind of situation where you get podiumed on track 1, especially if it's not like an intentional sack track.
And this track 1, it is the first map Team Velocity, so getting podium here would be pretty detrimental. Team Velocity having that having Ajax on that UG Taishin, I know that is his Oshi. One of our couple, we have a couple of Taishin Oshi players here. I believe Benny also, a shout out to Benny, is also a Taishin player, and unlike Benny, however, he was able to hit on his Oshi in this match.
Yeah. Now this is Hanshin 2K. So I'm actually expecting a lot better performance on Dober out of Dober for this one. She is primarily built for these lower distance mediums. So if she's going to be doing her job, we're going to see it here on this track, or we're going to see it on the other lower distance mediums.
Yeah, that is good. I was a little worried if the trend would continue with the gap just being too wide for these enclosers and late surgers to really push up into first. But I don't think this map is another redshift map, so that should be a little bit of ease up.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you're not just anytime you don't give the front runners a bonus XL and you're not just gambling on more stuff, that's kind of a nice thing. But again, we really believe in that redshift combo of moving past and beyond into redshift, NSM. You know, we're just all in. We're gambling here, you know?
Yeah, and maybe an inherited trait from your captain. Someone who loves to take that nothing ventured skills, so not too surprising of a choice. So going into this next map, we are seeing that Hanshin 2000, a little bit of a shorter map, which means that the enclosers like surgers have a little bit less room to work with, but this is Metro Dober's home ground, the Hanshin 2000 map.
Yeah, and this Dober, big gamble going on here is the 1.5 million CCs. So this skill is either going to proc right at the start and just be a pace breaker, which will help her get a better position, or it can only proc at the very end of the home stretch. And as long as it doesn't proc on the last frame, then it's going to get its full duration, which will help her close out with T-Pulse and home stretch haste. Our real goal is to just velocity skill down all the other Umas at this point.
Yep, but coming out of the gate, we do see a repeat of what we saw last time. Those two front runners just pushing each other up. The Restless coming out a little early, but I think it's late enough that she still gets full value out of it.
And even without that, I believe that she's already stammed enough to live this course regardless. I'm looking at Dober. She is not stuck all the way in the back this time, so she does have a chance to push up.
Yeah,
but this is really team-on-team PvP going on in the back here. We got the Daring Strike out of Rudolph, and there's the Tail and the Depth combo, which is really going to help. Hopefully Dober gets into a nice 7th place here, and then she'll be ready to go. Because this race is pretty short on the mid-game. So we're almost ready to go. KFC is going to come out. Early Radiant Stars, these are not going to carry over if they're coming out this early. PTO is going to push her up. Professor of Curvature into Radiant Star. Dober is in prime position. And we got the moving past and beyond. And if we see an NSM, she is absolutely just going to run the front of this pack down.
Oh, it's so scary here. Radiant Star, this Aishin Flash in position to maybe do something. Number 6 move it up, but number 10, the one I have my eyes on, of course, that Medro Dober. And on the inside, Satono Diamond looking to compete with these two front runners, but these front runners are so scary, so reliable. But it looks like Triumphant Pulse, 1.5 million CC. Medro Dober looking to overtake and will do so. Secure first place just barely by a head or a neck, something like that. It's Medro Dober getting so many points on the board.
I mean, that's crazy. You called out exactly what you wanted to happen with that singular skill, and we literally got to watch it by a neck that mattered. 1.5 CC was the neck. The T-pulse into 1.5 into home stretch haste.
Yeah, I mean, 1.5 CCs is generally a great backline skill. It's extra good on some of these medium tracks where you know that it can only proc in either 1 out of 1 location that's going to help you with that final spurt, give you potential carryover, or just pace break you at the start. And because she doesn't have Umastan, that's even more important than it normally is.
Yeah, and just bringing you guys down now, it's only a 2-point gap. And that is very easily overcome. As we saw in the last match, you were probably busy in your career, so you didn't get to see it. But last match, Uma Party had gotten podiumed on race 2, I believe.
Oof.
And they still managed to come back. So you guys only having a 2-point gap. This match is already much closer than that match was at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that's really impressive that they were able to come back from that podium, because obviously they could just podium them right back, but that's always a really hard thing to overcome.
And kind of looking over the results in these first 2 matches here, we are seeing kind of what the reason why Mihono Bourbon and Summer Marzensky are 2 of the 4 horsewomen of the apocalypse, right? Just absolute dominant performance, even with how strong Velocity have built their late surgers and enclosers, still able to get a podium spot on both of these races. So that's really key, and the reason why Team Lovestruck is ahead right now. But going into this 3rd map, though, this is going to be HX's home ground, right? The Arama Keenan. I have not taken a look at the frontrunners. I don't know if they have victory cheer, and if that were to be absent, Team Lovestruck might not have any acceleration going into this map other than just angling and scheming.
Yeah, I'm looking over the frontrunners right now, and neither of them have victory cheer. So this is really going to be pretty Taishin favored. Also, something to keep an eye out. I don't know how many people miss Professor of Curvature, but missing Kitas on Chain 3 is a classic. And on this track, you can get that to proc twice. So we should really keep an eye on that first corner, who gets Professor of Curvature to fight for the early mid race, and then if they can proc it again at the end. Because that's going to have a huge impact. That skill can pull double duty for sure.
Yep. I remember my own CM. I would love seeing Speedstar and Professor of Curvature proc on that final corner after I've already accelerated and the Uma just starts flying down the final straight. It is such a good feeling, but you guys mentioned the victory cheer. Luckily on Arima Keenan, that corner 3 is only around 33 meters after the start of the late race, so it's not a huge detriment, but with encroaching shadow in the mix, it does become a very dicey. That's 30 extra meters of acceleration that Taishin can potentially get over those fronts, and we've seen in that race 1 where Taishin was at the front of the late pack. If she can pull that off and hit encroaching from 5th, that's GG.
Yeah, absolutely.
And right out of the front,
we are seeing,
yeah, we see just another similar story, right? The Summer Marzinski, the Bourbon, making a sizable gap. Not as big as the first race. Very interesting. I wonder what happened there. Oh, but as I say that, the gap instantly widens. This is about what we normally see with that Pasa in 3rd, Satono in 4th.
Absolutely. And something we haven't seen yet, actually, is we have 2 frontrunners and 3 pace chasers, and something that's prone to happen when you have half a lobby being backliners is if any of those get a really bad late start and they're on an inner post, they can just get absolutely kidnapped and knocked out of the race entirely. Luckily, that has not happened yet for Team Lovestruck, but it is something to keep in mind for the rest of the races.
Yeah, and looking at the Dober in particular, I wonder if something happened to her. She is really far back. But someone I really want to keep my eyes on is that Taishin. She's in 9th. We'll see if she can push up a little further. No Daring Strike is procced, I don't believe.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Taishin never made it past Chain 2 for her Daring Strike. And this Dober was sacked on the longs, and she's trying to specialize more in the medium, so she still has that base long F going on.
Got it, but we do see the Taishin has pushed up into 8th. She needs to be one position higher if she wants to hit moving past and beyond when they go into corner 3, but encroaching shadow might just be enough to get her there. Looking for an NSM, no NSM to be seen.
NSM off of Rudolph and off of Pasa. The Rudolph timing on the NSM is absolutely immaculate.
Oh, yeah, this Taishin is pretty late here compared to the rest of the backliner pack, and we're seeing a massive wave of them. Rudolph, Brian, looking to try and overtake here. It's looking very crowded. This Mihono Bourbon is vulnerable, and so much velocity coming out from that Narita Brian. Going to secure first, maybe even second, and that's going to be second as well. That's some really big points on the board for Team Velocity.
Yep. That's first and second for Velocity, with the Tono Diamond rounding out the top 3 by a neck.
Yeah, and that Tono Diamond is really scary on that kind of map. She does have those great innate long skills, and she also has the right-handed demon. Although picking up right-handed demon in this kind of draft is a bit... it's very skewed based on the maps, because we do have so many Tokyo maps in this draft, and Chukyo, as well as I believe there's one Niigata.
And it's gonna be the Narita Brian coming out from Scarlet, getting a little bit of revenge on Team Lovestruck maybe for taking away her Tachyon. But Narita Brian, just overall, just such a solid horse, able to perform on basically any distance, any condition. Having a strong 0.45 acceleration, not acceleration, and velocity, usually happening in the late race. And we saw it there. She was just basically able to rocket forward and overtake the fronts at the final straight.
Yeah, it's funny. The top 3 actually all have 0.45 velocity uniques.
It really makes you think.
Really makes you think. Yeah, maybe Oguri was right. Maybe she had something going on there when they called her the GOAT.
Yeah, because all these uniques are really just Triumph and Pulse, but worse. You know what I'm saying? No. Sometimes they could be better, especially with the, I believe the Narita Brian, she actually hit her unique a little bit earlier than 200 meters left in the race, so she got quite a bit of duration out of it, and we saw it pay off. The Rudolph hit her unique a little bit later, but I think she still got good usefulness out of it, especially securing that second place. And now we're going into, what is this, the 4th race?
Yep.
Going into the 4th race, another 2,000 meter little medium track, another Redshift map. This looks almost identical to our second race.
Yeah, it's going to be that Chukyo 2000. I believe the Redshift is either slightly delayed or... Yeah, I believe it's slightly delayed by half a step, but still going to be, full functional here for anyone who has that Redshift. And one thing to keep in mind, talking about these frontrunners, this Summer Maruzensky is a Maruzensky, so she was not able to inherit that Redshift, either missing it from GP or just opted not to get it entirely. But yeah, really eyes on that Mihono Bourbon for whether or not she can have a strong closing.
Indeed, and I have got my eyes on a certain Uma in the back. I want to see if maybe she can pull through this time and not find herself anchoring all the way at the back, doing nothing. And so far, it looks like she's off to a pretty good start. Measure of Dober. Oh, and as I say that, I think she just fell back into 9th. No, she's up there. She's up there.
I can't quite tell from this angle where she's at. But okay, yeah, she's fighting for the front of the front of the backpack, so that's a pretty good spot. She definitely has potential. A few mid-game skills is all she really needs to get in position, and hopefully we'll get to see a moving past and beyond for that soulful 0.4 acceleration.
Yeah, but once again, what is this? What are these enclosers? Do we need to get these guys drug tested? Like, Gold Ship, I understand, she has Daring Strike, she has Anchors Away, but what is this Taishin doing? What is her workout routine to be consistently at the front of this late pack with no Daring Strike?
Taishin.
Yeah, this Taishin is a pace chaser right now. And honestly, if she had shooting for victory, it would proc here.
Oh, Radiant Star!
And Taishin is going to proc the Radiant Star.
Oh, this is the Radiant Taishin.
Absolutely crazy time.
Yeah, just moving up. Number 5. Mihono Bourbon, not long for this world here. Narita Taishin, the inevitable, the end closer, the speed multiplier, everything in her favor.
And Tivoli Rudolph is coming down. She actually might be able to steal a spot as well. Second or third. It looks like she might actually squeeze out second place.
Oh, she squeezed out second.
Just barely ahead of the Bourbon.
And that's 6 points for Team Velocity. They move up to 18. That's 18 to 10.
Yeah, that's a pretty sizable lead right now.
Wow, just
podium,
an absolute showing here from Team Velocity with their late backliner heavy draft, showing that maybe Umamusume is not exactly the solve game that we thought it was, and frontrunners are not as impenetrable as you might think.
You're making me really scared saying that. That's usually foreshadowing techniques that are used when the frontrunners are about to win a match. But hopefully I'm wrong here.
Well, hopefully we'll see. Going into the next map is something that you guys should be looking forward to, is that Niigata Outer 2000. It is a straight acceleration map on the final straight, so Narita Taishin, this should be her home grounds.
Yeah, and I mean, with an 8-point lead, we went from that being Lovestruck being up 5-2, being up 8-6. That gap was just, it shrunk, and then they got overtaken by 2 points. And now Velocity with an 8-point lead going into a map that favors Narita Taishin. You have to start to worry a little bit, I think, if you're in Lovestruck's shoes right now. If Velocity podiums, it's over.
4,
yeah,
2,
and this
1.
this does kind of show the power of the backliner draft, right? Front runners, we've been seeing that Valentine Bourbon and Smaru just perform every single map, even when they lose that first place. But the thing about front runners is if they are less likely to get that first place if there are strong backliners, right? And in a points format, even though they're racking up those points for their team, first place is ultimately what gets the most. So, these backliners being strong and hitting, you guys having basically multiple backliners in your draft, you have multiple chances to hit, right? Not necessarily gambling, maybe, as you guys were mentioning earlier. As long as one out of these 5 horses hits something, you're going to be able to most likely overtake the frontrunners.
I was a little scared heading into this game, right? I was like, okay, Team Velocity, those are players we know. They're very good at Umamusume, that they're very good at UmaDraft. But this draft just seems so volatile. But with the lobby composition, now it seems so reliable.
Yeah, with maybe. Well, what I was worried about was, despite having a strong acceleration, zone for Team Velocity with the 5th, 6th, and 7th in the Dober maps and even potential Redshift, the 2 strong frontrunners with Samaru and V Bourbon, if they just start competing the entire mid race and making a lot of distance, it's just almost, untouchable sometimes, it feels like, for a backliner, no matter how strong you are. But thankfully, this was not the case here. And Team Velocity, hitting on that UG Taishin from H-Jax, really just absolutely showing up here for their team.
Yeah, one thing I'm a little concerned about with the frontrunners is we've already seen them kind of make a really sizable gap on some of these courses, but with a 950-meter opening straight, if either of these fronts have DDPP, it's going to be very pronounced on this track, and I think we might see a little bit of a wider gap than we've seen on the previous ones as they just push forward. But I'm not seeing any lane movement, so I don't think they have it.
Yep. Not going to be the difference maker here, but the front runner still building more distance than on the previous tracks. Of course, a lot of that can be explained by the track itself being significantly longer than the shorter mediums and the miles that we've had, but still something to think about as these front runners are just competing for the lead. Good sign.
Yeah, again, this is another 2000 track that Dober is specifically built for, but she's having a real rough time without Umastan. That's part of the trade-off when you do a full backline draft. If one of your members doesn't have Umastan, if one of your members doesn't proc as many skills, they're not going to be ready for this acceleration zone that's coming up.
Yep, gotta be careful here. Radiant Star a little bit early, but that does let her push up, try and get into position. Oh, the Niigata cameraman. Oh my goodness, Johnny Hearn mentioned it, but like holy moly, some tracks have awful camera, but like this one has an awesome camera. The issue is I can't see what's going on. What's happening? Where are the backlighters? I hate this camera, never mind.
We do have the special week, the Narita Bryan pushing up, but the Mihono Bourbon is holding out. Summer Marzinski trying to push up these backliners, trying to close the gap. Beeline burst in body and mind. Is it going to be enough? The Narita Bryan's pushing up. The Action Flash right behind. Narita Bryan pushing, but not quite there.
And that means Team Lovestruck, they're going to survive.
Yeah, that Bourbon securing some much needed points right now. Unfortunately, they were unable to get any more points. They'd really like to grab as many as they can to really retake that lead. But again, Bourbon is really keeping them alive right now.
I just realized it's midnight. I can't do play-by-play at midnight, bro.
Okay, I'll take over every single final leg all the way.
Yeah, bye.
The cameraman griefed me. I was having so much fun, and then I was like, awesome cinematic panning shot, and then I couldn't see anything.
Yeah, the inner streamer in me was just like dead noise, start talking, and then I just took it. So
No, that was good.
Yes. Something we saw here was quite interesting. Like I never know what to expect with these Niigata maps, you know, with their extremely long final straights. Like I was not expecting the late surgers and end closers to have such a tough time catching up to the front runner there. I think one thing to really note is with these kind of Niigata maps, a lot of the late surgers and end closers kind of end up swinging super wide, with the final corner being kind of the majority of the mid race still. So it causes them kind of to spread out and not be able to find a lot of dual targets. Meanwhile, you know, the front runner is just hogging the inside rail, you know, saving a lot of space, saving a lot of distance, getting that stable accelerations there with Agony Scheming still, just able to just hold on.
Now, I am hearing from my team captain that Nothing Ventures on Aishin did proc there and did actually do something. So that's probably what created that third place. I believe it got a bit of speed carryover, he's saying.
Yes. I noticed that when we were going into it, the Aishin Flash proc Nothing Ventured right before the late race. It was like probably about a quarter of a second, half a second. So really good carryover. I think Professor Curvature might have comboed with it, but there was a lot of skills procking around the same time, so it was hard to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure the Brian actually didn't get moving past and beyond or on your left, but it was still able to push up a lot. Again, just, you know, one of the things that can happen with the backline draft, Radiant Star, I believe, was the thing that was really propelling Brian there, or it might have just been speed carryover. I don't quite know. But, you know, you're fighting for Excel slots, so if somebody hits better, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think it was just a classic case of velocity bomb. It seemed like, you know, there's only so many in that front pace pack that really wasn't a redshift map, and without redshift, a lot of those paces don't really have anything going for them on that map. The late race was so far into the final corner. There's no FPASA going off there. There's no Satono Diamond is not really doing anything in that position unless she's on that final straight. That's just another velocity skill, right? So just a complete lack of excel for those pace chasers and for the second place front just really means that even though the Narita Bryan missed her velocities or her excels, even though she has that shadow break, she has in body and mind, I believe, able to just push really fast.
Yeah, and this is Nakayama 1600. This is the 1 mile map in the draft. So I'm pretty confident a lot of people didn't take skills for it. And I'm actually looking at my own Dober there, and it looks like she's really far up. She's pretending to be a pace chaser. She's going to get paced down a little bit. But she has the inside rail, so Dober is going to go off this game unless something drastic changes in the next, like, 800 meters.
Yeah, and I want to call back to what you were talking about earlier. This is another 1.5 mil perfect proc. There is no 50-50. It can't proc early. It can only proc on that final straight, along with any straight skills. There's no straight at all on this map until you get to the final straight. So any straight skills are going to be final straight velocity. But the Dober might be pushing too far.
Yeah, the moving past and beyond timing is coming up in just a moment, but she might actually push out of position. Hopefully that doesn't happen. It looks like Rudolph is pushing.
She got it.
And
Radiant Star! Radiant Star and moving past and beyond. This Dober is flying to the stratosphere. Just moving so quickly. Same with this Narita Taishin as well. The backliners taking over this lobby, looking to win it here. If they can overtake this Mihono Bourbon, and they will. They're so incredibly fast. First and second. That's going to be it. That's Team Velocity taking this series.
Wow, absolute killer performance. And we're seeing basically another almost mirror of the Uma Party versus RDD match with their two backliners holding hands down the final straight. I'm sure they were dueling right there as they were right the neck and neck with each other, boosting each other, getting that extra speed, extra acceleration on the final straight to overtake the Mihono Bourbon there. So absolutely well done by Team Velocity. A soulful backliner draft proving that frontrunners are not the only ways to play this game.
Wait, that's crazy. Wait. So when we watched the Uma Party versus RDD game, Destin was in the call and got first in the last race. When we watched the Team Velocity versus Lovestruck match, JJ's in the call and got first place in the last race.
I mean, that's just the caster luck really going around.
We also both got MVP. I tied with Goldship and Dober tied with Taishin.
Wait, we are not
really,
being the scripted allegations this early in week 1?
Yeah, congratulations to Team Velocity and Team Lovestruck for completing their first game, but especially big one to Team Velocity for winning their first match with a soulful draft at that.
Well, let's head over to Team Velocity call. Let's jump scare them.
Uh-oh.
Hello.
You can't jump scare us if we're listening to the stream and hear that you're about to jump scare us.
So,
fronts suck.
Okay, well, we'll pick. It's time to start talking to like the team leaders, okay? And by leaders, I mean leaders in points. H-Jax, how do you feel after this big win here over Lovestruck?
I don't know. I hit a high roll. Didn't see even a wisp of Daring Strike in my career.
Damn.
I didn't even see the first event for Abe. Like, I might as well have not had that card in my deck. It did nothing. It was so sad.
Yeah, but getting the UG Taishin though in a live build 5v5, it's really impressive. And H-Jax, I think I've seen you. I mean, I know you played before, and I kind of feel like you've always done relatively well in all of your drafts as far as like getting an ace going and going in one run. So, do you have like a secret that you'd like to share with anybody?
Well, my friends would say I'm just way too lucky, and it's not fair. But I think you just have to play for consistency in this. Like, you're not trying to necessarily hit a super high score. Like, if you do, it's great, but like, you're trying to not make a Unity Cup Uma more than you're trying to make a god.
Solid advice. And looking over to our co-MVP for the team, Mr. JJ, how was it?
I always knew it was possible to hit Summer Runner on your debut race, but this run did it, and then proceeded to miss the 60-some-odd% Umastan chance. I feel like the Dober ultimately got pretty lucky with her mid-game to be in position, because we had some pretty strong backliners that had Umastan that were in better spots. So I'm glad that she was able to perform, but that is the scary part when you get into these longer maps and you don't have a great pace down breaker for the early game.
That is the case. And while like you guys were able to pull off this backliner draft, I was talking to JJ, kind of before the matches races just started. Were you guys did you guys have this game plan the entire time that we were just not going to pick any front runners and let's just compete on the back line?
And we don't want to leak our draft secrets, but we knew what we were drafting ahead of time.
Okay, yeah.
Well, actually, something that could be leaked, maybe an agenda of sorts. Pick, tell me a bit more about a certain skill on this Aishin Flash that may or may not have gotten points in the previous race.
Hey, she got 1 point, okay? So I have, in every game that I've played Aishin, I have at least gotten 1 point. So the Aishin stats are getting up there. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's your you gotta talk about
a core skill. Yeah, a core skill on her comes from the Anshinzawa PAL card. It's called Nothing Ventured. It's a gold VELO skill that gives 0.45, and sometimes it'll nuke your stam just a little bit. But if you actually overstam a little bit, it's like kind of negligible.
And do you typically overstam when you take the skill?
No, I don't usually take a stam card. I think in the last time I ran it on stream, I didn't want to take Super Creek, and then I understammed, and then I lost. So then I didn't do that. I took a stam card this time. So that's pretty cool, I guess.
I mean, I love to see those evolutions from our captain, living more maps.
You guys will be happy to know that when I was celebrating my team's win, right before I hopped in to cast you guys' races, everyone in my team and everyone in Charles' Fish chat was like, what is this draft? They let through V Bourbon, they let through Summer Maruzinski. Like, what are these guys thinking?
All I'm saying is that fronts are, as a frontrunner player, I have strong feelings about fronts.
I see. But I wanted to let you know that chat now says that they will trust you from now on.
They better. Start taking the Anshinzawa card. When it has a run, if it does, MLB it.
Maybe we need a little bit more line for that line of trust, you know? But yeah, congratulations, guys, on your very first game, and we are looking forward to more of your performances going into the future.
All right.
Is this where we outro? I think we're done, right?
Yeah. So let's go ahead and head back up to the live channel. All right, off to a very successful first day. Gentlemen, how do you guys feel about the first officially broadcast stream of the UmaLeague?
Dustin, you want to go first? Your game happened first.
Yeah, Uma Party is the best team in the league. Everyone is going to lose just as badly as RDD lost today. I don't know what to tell you guys. It's going to be crazy. We definitely would not lose if we were given Valentine Bourbon, Summer Marzinski. All right, I'm being toxic. I'm sorry. No, this is a clean stream. I really like the format of the right where it shows the teams, what their record is, what the Uma picks are, and the scoreboard, and how you can still see the full race. And then the transition with the map below it, showing the layout of where the Excel zone is and everything. I think the stream went really well. I think I like this format a lot.
Awesome. And JJ, any final words?
Yeah, no, I mean, mostly the same thing. I mean, the Uma Party being best team in the league, I don't know about that one, Dustin, if I can be completely honest with you. I mean, team velocity, we get a lot of speed skills, and we're going to run people down no matter what. So, like, we'll see you there at the end. And you know what? If we lose, maybe I'm going to bring up I'm in Club Uma Party, and, you know, I won anyway. You know, my club won. But that won't happen, so we're probably going to, you know, close this one out.
Awesome. And final word from me. Thank you everyone for watching. If you're interested in 5v5, please head to lighthello.com where we have a budding 5v5 community here. We have hundreds of players playing every week on the solo queue ladder where you can queue up and meet new friends and play together. So that's going to be all from me. Head over to you, Saya.
Wow, I'm like really good at this whole tournament streaming thing. Shout out to me. I have not shouted out myself like in years, other than last time. But shout out to Terumi for this whole drafter thing. Oh my goodness. Like, drafter was Terumi's wild ride from the very start. UmaDraft, 5v5. This is something that Terumi pushed for from the very beginning, and I'm glad that we're all the way here, and this is just so cool. See you tomorrow, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Farewell.